In the early 1950s, nestled in the heart of Kansas, there was a small, quiet town named Ashley. With a population of just under 700, Ashley was the kind of place where everyone knew each other. The townsfolk lived simple lives, farming their lands, raising cattle, and enjoying the comfort of community. It was the kind of town where the biggest news might be someone's new tractor or a barn dance. But in the summer of 1952, something far darker than anyone could imagine descended upon Ashley. It began one warm August evening just as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the fields. Gabriel Jonathan, a local farmer, was tending to his sheep on the outskirts of town. The evening was still. The only sounds were the soft bleating of sheep and the distant chirp of crickets. But then Gabriel heard something else, a low, almost imperceptible hum, like the distant vibration of machinery. At first he thought it might be a tractor, but as he strained his ears, the sound grew louder and more intense, resonating in his chest. The sheep, usually calm, began to panic, their eyes wide with fear. Gabriel's heart raced as he scanned the horizon, but there was nothing there, just an empty field stretching into the distance. The strange sound lingered for hours, a constant, unsettling presence that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. It was as if the very air was vibrating, filling the night with a sense of unease. By morning, the sound had vanished, leaving the town in an eerie silence. But the fear lingered. Over the next few days, strange occurrences became the talk of the town. Animals began acting erratically. Dogs barked incessantly at nothing, cows refused to give milk, and horses reared at invisible threats. Even the people of Ashley started feeling the effects. Children had nightmares so vivid, they woke up screaming in the dead of night, their descriptions of shadowy figures and whispering voices sending chills down their parents' spines. Adults, too, reported strange dreams, visions of a black void consuming the town, swallowing it whole. Then came the night of August 16th. The town had been enveloped in an oppressive darkness, the moon hidden behind thick clouds. The streets were deserted, as if an unspoken fear had driven everyone indoors. It was just after midnight when the ground began to shake. At first, it was a faint tremor, but within moments, the entire town was rocked by a violent earthquake. Buildings swayed, windows shattered, and the earth itself seemed to groan under the strain. And then, as suddenly as it began, the quake stopped. The townsfolk, shaken and terrified, stumbled out of their homes, expecting to see devastation. But what they saw was far worse. In the distance, where the road out of Ashley should have been, there was nothing. The town was completely surrounded by a vast, bottomless chasm, as if the earth had simply split open and swallowed everything around it. Ashley was no longer connected to the world. It was as if the town had been plucked from the earth and placed in a void. Panic set in. People tried to reach the edge of the chasm, but no matter how far they walked, the edge never came closer. It was as if the town was trapped in a bubble of its own, isolated from reality. Days passed, and the sense of dread only grew. Food and water began to run out, and the strange hum returned, louder and more insistent than before. One by one, people began to disappear. At first, it was just a few. An old man who lived alone on the edge of town, a young girl who had been out playing, but soon, entire families vanished without a trace, their homes left empty and undisturbed. Those who remained were gripped by an overwhelming terror, huddling together in their homes, praying for some kind of salvation. The last recorded sighting of Ashley came from a state trooper who had been sent to investigate the town's sudden isolation. According to his report, he reached the edge of the chasm and saw Ashley in the distance, but the town appeared different, darker, shrouded in a thick, unnatural fog. He claimed he heard the hum growing louder as he approached, and then nothing. The trooper was found days later, wandering the countryside in a state of shock, unable to speak of what he had seen. By the end of August, Ashley had ceased to exist. The chasm had closed up as mysteriously as it had appeared, leaving no trace of the town or its people. The land where Ashley once stood was barren, as if nothing had ever been there. To this day, the disappearance of Ashley, Kansas remains one of the most disturbing unsolved mysteries in American history. Some say the town was cursed. Others believe it was the victim of a government experiment gone wrong. But the truth is, no one knows for sure. All that remains are the stories, passed down through generations, of a town that vanished without a trace, swallowed by the darkness that came to claim it.